conversation with the patient on his own to get to that point. Sheldon didn't tell him that.
Yeah.
He just kind of got him there.
Yeah, he
Right?
had his
walked
own
him on
moment. He had his own moment. I just
Yeah.
created the situation for him to have the
Yes.
aha moment. Then the next question, which always comes out, well, how much is this going to cost? I said, well, you know, Bruce, I don't know how much it's going to cost because I don't know the plan that you and I are going to decide together. I don't know what that plan is yet. We haven't decided what that is. So we'll get to that. So, you know, let's go through. So can you see how it's going?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm leading him down this thing. About towards the end, he says again, listen, how much is this going to cost? And I said, Bruce, I understand that money is a big part of this. It is for everybody. Money's a part of this, and I get it. I said, but if we stop now and we start talking about money before we've talked about the situation, it's going to become money planning and not treatment planning. So with your permission, what I'd like to do is put aside the money discussion just for a minute, and we'll have that for sure. But if we could just put that aside for a minute so we can make sure that we understand your condition and what the solution is for it, and then we can see if we can make this fit into your budget. How does that work? And he says, okay, yeah, that sounds good. Get to the end, and now it's when I get to give him an estimate of what I think it's going to cost, okay? So, Bruce's actual treatment plan is 5 extractions, full mouth crown lengthening, 7 implants, full mouth rehab. He invested between the surgeon, the lab, and my office over $60,000. This is a guy that came back, was pissed about 12 grand, okay? So what happened?
Educated.
Did I educate him? Part of it's education.
But
I
the
created an
experience
experience and a process for him to understand his condition in a way that he made a decision for himself based on, you know, he didn't have that experience at the other office. They just said you need this, and they lost the opportunity to treat the patient, and you know, he left. He said to me after we got him finished, there he is finished, by the way. We're going to talk about his case in more detail because this is a complex rehab in a lot of ways, and we'll go into that. Very difficult rehab. But this is just a good example for me on many levels why I like to share his story, because this dude comes in on a Harley. He would have never thought. And he said to me, that's more than I make in a year. I said, I understand, Bruce, you know, good dentistry is an investment. I said, but you know, and he drove up in a truck one day. He had this nice Chevy truck. And I said, how much did that truck cost you? He goes, oh, I think it was like 40-something thousand. I said, how long do you think to have that truck? And I said, and he says, I don't know, I usually have about 4 or 5 years. I said, okay. I said, tell me this, Bruce, what do you use more, your mouth or your truck? And he goes, wow, you're good. And I go, listen, I'm not trying to be slick. I just want you to think outside the box a little bit. We live in a society and industry where people are buying cars that cost $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. It's routine. People are just programmed to buy that. And you're going to have to replace that in 5 years. But something that you use more than any part of your body, you use your mouth to communicate, to nourish your body, to speak, you know, all the things we do with our mouth. It's the most used part of our body. But yet the thought of investing that kind of money in our mouth is something that's so foreign to people. I'm just trying to put it in perspective for you. Like this is an investment in yourself that's going to last way longer than that truck you're driving. So he goes home. You don't have to decide today, Bruce. I know this is a lot to think about. You know, just let us know when you're ready. We'll be here. You kind of know what's involved. About a week or 2 later, shows up with the cashier's check, pays up front.
Do you tell them?
I don't know where you got the money. Could have
Do you
robbed the
tell them the
bank.
numbers, or do you walk out of the room, your office manager comes in and talks numbers?
On a case like this, I typically will give a roundabout estimate. I say, you know, Bruce, a case like yours, you're probably looking at, you know, between I'll give him a close round. I used to say, you know, a case like yours is going to be like buying a car. But then it's like, well, that's a big range, right? What is it, a Metro, or is it a loaded Mercedes? You know, or if it is a high amount, I might say it's like buying a luxury German car. But typically, I'll just give them a range of price, you know, and then I always pause. I just say the number, and I don't hesitate. I don't have this and look down. I look him in the eyes confidently because I know I'm going to give this guy value. I'm gonna do a good job, I'm gonna do it right, it's gonna hold up for him, and it's gonna give him years of service. So I don't have this like about it. I've eliminated whether he says no or not. That's not up to me. It may be so far to his budget, he says, no, okay, that's cool. I get it. I'm a dentist, and if someone quoted me 60 grand to do my mouth, I'd think about it, you know? I get it. So I'm not trying to, you know, but it's the process. So I think it's time to take a break, but here's what's funny. We often tell patients to bring a picture of when they were young, you know, so we want to see what their teeth look like. And so he brought in this picture. I'm like, Bruce, man, love that hairy chest, dude. You know, he's a funny guy. You can joke around with him a lot. But we did this photo shoot with him, and I hired this photographer because I love the story. And there's a picture of him in my operatory, and as a reminder to me. And what's funny is I've had at least a dozen patients ask if that's me. And I'm just like, I know I put on a little bit of weight, but I don't think I'm like that yet. But anyway, so back to the GERD, sleep apnea, undiagnosed. Got him to a gastroenterologist, got him a sleep study, and he understands that, Bruce, if you want to maintain this, you're going to need to treat these other medical conditions that are contributory. What an opportunity for me to get my work into a physician's office to say, hey, my dentist found this. I personally called the physician and said, listen, this guy comes in, I sent him a picture, I'm a dentist, and this is what I noticed. I'm concerned he has this, will you look at him? Think I'm on the radar of that physician? Probably so. So, let's take a break because bladders are not working well. Is this working? Is it too slow, too much? What? Where are you at with this? We're gonna get into some more clinical and pink and white stuff.
I want to say too, price is always a concern until experience transcends price.
Hey,
right?
did you read
nobody
my next slide?
No, but nobody paid anything for coffee. I've been paying more than $1 for coffee until Starbucks.
Yeah.
It transcended. Now everybody pays $5-6 and go to the Dutch Brothers and pay $7 for it. You know. So experience will transcend price.
Yeah.
Right? And I love now when patients come in and see me and they're like, I'm not spending 10 grand. I was like, I'm gonna get you. You watch, right?
Yeah.
I love those now because it's
Yeah.
almost like a challenge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And how do you learn the art of moving and past that? But too many dentists retreat from that.
Mm-hmm.
And they allow the patient to dictate that instead of saying, I can move past this through photos,
Yeah.
through experience, through education, right?
I love this quote. It's hardly anything in the world that some man can't make a little worse and sell a little cheaper than the people who consider price only are this man's lawful prey. And that says a lot to Bruce. About a year after he did this, he pulled me aside one day in the office. He said, Dr. Sullivan, he goes, I don't know if you knew this, and I didn't at the time. I spent more of my mouth than I make in a year. And he goes, but I'd do it again. This has been like the best thing that I've done. When that slide, we'll take a break. This is a cool concept because in order for this to happen, all the stuff we've been talking about, it takes a team. If you think you're going to carry the torch alone, we got to be leaders, we got to lead our teams, and we got to get them on board. That's just the only way it's going to work. Look closely at this pit crew, and we'll talk about this in a minute. Count, when the car comes in, count how long this is.
Like 9 seconds or
Yeah.
something wrong.
Okay, so that's a team that's prepared, right? So if we could use this analogy in the dental practice, if we have team members in place, you know, that know their area of responsibility and they know the vision of where we're going here, and we speak the same language and we're like in unison, it's kind of like that. If you've ever watched Canadian geese, that they fly in a V formation because they fly, they get longer distance when they fly that way because of the drag and the coefficient of drag. And so really, you know, part of my success is I've been good at bringing the right team members in and empowering them and training them and investing in them. And it really sucks when you lose them because it's like you kind of got to, it's like a never ending thing. And I've had the toughest time in this last year with team members than I've had in my entire career. Like, it's getting harder and harder to find good people out there. The millennials are a tough generation to work with. They just have a different ethic, work mentality. But anyways, let's have a break and then we can come back and start the next phase, okay?